Welcome to the Productpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Jelarzak, product development and marketing coach and mom of three. Learn from and get inspired by women entrepreneurs killing it in the product space. Each episode, we will share the latest trends, proven strategies, and inside secrets of the product world, all designed to give you greater confidence to create your own success through a product venture. Let's do this. Hey there, and welcome to episode 8 of the Productpreneur Podcast. Today, I'm coming to you with a different type of podcast around the subject of feelings and how to deal with our new state of normal. Listening to another podcast episode from Leanne Kim's The Business of Thinking Big podcast on emotions inspired me to create this podcast. And if you haven't checked her podcast out, I highly recommend. It's one of my favorites. I'm recording this at the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, where we are all in isolation. In a matter of a few weeks, we've gone from not really thinking that this is going to affect us too much to all of us canceling our March break plans and to now being in isolation, with most businesses and schools closed down. The news is very bleak, and it's really beyond distressing to see what's happening in different parts of the world. I don't know about you, but I've had a really hard time. I've felt a roller coaster of emotions, including fear and sadness and anger. And really, I've just wanted to put my head in the sand so many times. And often I'll find myself in tears while watching the news. And it took me a while to recognize what I was feeling until I read an article that my friend Libby Matsko, who works in psychology, sent to me. And I recommend reading it. I'll put it in the show notes. It's called That Discomfort You're Feeling is Grief, from the Harvard Business Review by Scott Berinato. And he references David Kessler, the world's foremost expert on grief. And it mentions what we are all experiencing is grief. Grief for our routines changing, for our old life going away, for feeling isolated, for a world that's changing, for fear of economic troubles. And then we're also feeling anticipatory grief. We anticipate grief that might happen, like economic toll, or getting the virus, or your family getting sick, or just wondering how long this is going to take. And so this really resonated with me because I couldn't put a finger on how I was feeling and what I was feeling. And whatever your situation is, you're probably feeling this in some form. And I want to say it's normal and it's totally okay to feel this way. It's good to name it, it's good to recognize it, and also not to suppress your feelings because that won't help either. So if you need to cry or shout out, do so. It's really okay, and it's good to process your feelings. I know many of us focus on positivity, and that's important, but it's also important to make sure you process your feelings. And there are different stages of grief. The first one being denial. So I'm sure we've all said this at some point, that this virus, it won't affect us. Or anger. The second stage is anger. Oh, really? I had to stay home during March break? I know I was really not happy with that. And third stage is bargaining. This should only take until Easter, according to a famous politician. The fourth stage being sadness. When will this end? I want my life back. And the fifth stage being acceptance. This is happening, and I need to figure out my new normal. And I think I'm on the acceptance side of it, but many times I go back to sadness. And so I've had some strategies that have helped me, and I want to provide you with tips to help your mindset at this time, because it is so important to take care of our attitude first. It's the only way we can actually help others is to start from a positive frame of mind. So if you think of the oxygen mask in an airplane and the fact that, they tell us to put our oxygen masks on first before we help our kids, it's the same kind of thing. You need to protect yourself. So I'm going to give you my top 10 tips for protecting my energy and protecting my positive state of mind. The first is around the anticipatory, I can hardly say that, anticipatory grief. So how do we stop ourselves from worrying? And the article talked about getting into the present. And so rather worrying about what has not yet occurred, we can focus on the here and now. And so if you haven't tried meditation or breath work, now is a really good time. There are tons of meditation apps out there that you can use to help you with this, or even YouTube videos. Headspace is one, and I personally use Peloton meditation. So try meditation. Also try thinking about what is happening in the present rather than thinking about the past or the future. The second is focusing on what you can control. I find this really powerful and helpful. So you cannot control the news, the amount of toilet paper available, the virus, but you can control your mindset, your mood, how you treat others, how you use your time, your physical activity, your nutrition, and most importantly, staying home and your physical distancing. Number 3, how can this be a blessing? So think about how can this be a blessing for your family, for your work, for society, etc. For me, I know it's given me the gift of time. I've always wanted more time. I wanted more time to be creative, to spend time with my kids, to learn, to exercise. Recently, exercise, just because of being super busy, it hasn't been as big of a priority. And that is, now we have the ability to do that. So think about how this can be a blessing for you. And number 4 is self-care. This is hugely important, especially now when we're trying to improve our immunity. Sleep, workouts, eating well, drinking lots, and taking time for meditation, I see all those as being very critical in self-care. I have a coach who asked me, when was it that I felt most powerful? And I'll tell you, it was once when I was in the best shape of my life. It was many years ago. I was training for a fitness competition. And the routine and the discipline it took to work out, to eat perfectly, it was a lot. I'll tell you, it was a lot. But I look back on that at that time, and it was probably the healthiest I've ever felt and the best I've ever felt. So now I'm making a commitment to work out every day, whether it is simply just a walk or doing weights in my basement. I have a little gym set up there. I have a spin bike, and I do cardio and yoga in front of an app that I use. And I also ensure that my kids are exercising. So we do something called Mom Gym, where I help them work out, and we follow along with different exercise routines. And it's a lot of fun. And definitely what it does is gets me more energized, gets my endorphins going, clears my head. And I can tell you that I definitely come up with my best ideas when I'm exercising and I'm moving. And then definitely eating well is really important. I know it's hard when we're all at home and we always want to munch on things, and we're all baking at this time. But try to eat well about 80% of the time at least, and focus on clean eating, limiting processed foods. I'm sure you understand all the drills about what clean eating is, but really it's just limiting your processed flour and sugar, and those things, and focusing on clean foods that were at their purest source. And then sleeping at least 8 hours a night, 7 to 8 hours at least, I think. And so I see that as a pillar of feeling better, is when you take care of yourself, you sleep well, you exercise, and you eat well. And then number 5, setting up your day for success. So I don't know if you have a morning routine. A lot of people are talking about morning routines these days. And I don't have one that I'm married to yet, but what I do find super helpful is to start my day with intention and to think about at least 3 things that I'm grateful for, and also think about what would make this day amazing, great. What do I want to happen so at the end of the day, I feel like, man, I've had a great day and given it my all. And the other thing I do is I work on affirmations and how I want to be and feel and act. So I know that some of you might think, no, I don't believe in affirmations, and it's just not for me. And I was like that for sure once, but I truly believe that affirmations are super powerful. because what you say brings about your thoughts and feelings and eventually your actions. So I say things like, I am worthy, I am strong, I am unique. And I make sure to do that so that I start my day with positivity. And the other thing I do is visualize. So as I'm visualizing how my day is going to go, I think about what I need to do to be successful and to make it a great day. And I visualize how I'm going to act and think and everything. And number 6, give yourself some grace. This might not be your most productive time, and that's okay. I mean, then we've got kids at home while we're working. They're interrupting me while I'm working. I'm sure they're going to come in while I'm recording this. And so if we can just focus on getting one thing done in that day, I think that's pretty good. So if you are, a lot of you are probably type A people, you have a list of things to do. I know I did. And I've just tried to recently give myself some grace and slow down and try to appreciate things more and know that when I've done something, I should just give myself a high five. Okay, next one is number 7. Try to look your best, and, it's easy to roll out of bed and sleep in and not make an effort. But what is really helpful is if you actually set a schedule, you wake up, you get dressed, you try to look good and feel good. And it shows, I know that there are studies out there that show that when you do make an effort, you actually, you feel better, and you also perform better. And number 8 is finding a buddy or somebody to help you, like an accountability buddy or a Facebook business group or a coach. Finding somebody to help you if you're not feeling motivated and if you are just feeling down. It's super helpful to talk to somebody about it. And number 9 is to limit your social media and news and restrict it at a certain time, and definitely not before bed. So I've learned that the hard way. Many times I'll watch news before bed, and it's not setting me up for a good night's sleep because then I start to worry and so on. So it's important to protect our energy and definitely be careful about what we're watching, what news sources we're watching, and also how much we are exposing ourselves to that kind of sad news. And do use social media and technology to connect with people. So, getting online with friends, using Google Hangouts or House Party or, oh my gosh, there's so many things. WhatsApp, Zoom, there's so many ways to see and connect with people these days. And I found that really helpful. And then lastly, turning to faith. So I know not everybody has a faith that they follow, but I have found it very helpful at this time. A teacher of my son sent us a beautiful email during March break, and she quoted Matthew 6, and she said that Jesus tells us not to worry about tomorrow. He says, Can any one of you by worrying add a single hour to your life? He does this because he knows that worry and stress doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't help our mental, spiritual, and emotional health, certainly not our immunity. And he does this because he loves us. So do not worry. You are well taken care of. Try not to worry. I know it's hard. It's hard not to be fearful at this time. But it helps me to have faith and know what I believe in. And I do find that prayer is helpful, and it's bringing us closer together more and closer to our faith more than ever. And so I hope this helps you during this period of time. These are the tools that I use to create more positivity in my life. This list is ever growing. I'm finding more tools every day, and as I listen to others and read more, I am learning more and more. And I just wish you the best. I hope you stay safe. Do reach out if I can help you in any way. And I'm sending you so much love at this time. Stay safe. Keep well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the Productpreneur Podcast. If you loved this episode, we'd be so grateful if you could take a sec to subscribe, share it, and review it on Apple Podcasts. Your review will help more women build their own dream product business. By the way, if you have any feedback, comments, or questions, email me at info@nicoledelarzac.com. Until next time, keep dreaming up those product ideas.